I'm going to invite Victor Talbot from Playing Forwards to give us a brief presentation around what he and Playing Forward are up to at the moment.
I'm a child psychiatrist. When I had black hair, I was a practicing one, but I spent 3 decades in the entertainment business, not as a psychiatrist. And the last 4 years, I've commingled through Playing Forward, the entertainment world and the child psychiatry world. And we created an app called Dr. Moves, based on body movements that children do when they play against the animated characters on their iPad or iPhone. Essentially, we capture their volumetric movements in the back end and create an email, take the email, send it to the therapist, which is all the volumetric movements. The therapist puts it in the child's EHR, creates a claim, sends the claim to the insurance company with the data, and the insurance company reimburses the therapist for treatment of anxiety and depression. So through digital transformation, volumetric capture becomes physiological management under the eyes of the insurance companies, and a reimbursement occurs. That's the model. And we've been reimbursed by United Health Group, this is the pilot, and through Anthem, that's 25% of every American. That's 100 million members, and they all have children. So we're on the opposite side of the scale from EGB. We're 5 to 12. I can tell you there's 100 million adults in America that's going to have a crisis, mental health crisis in their lifetime, and half of them attributed to children's problems. And so what we're going to say, there's 50 million mentally ill children in this country, or 25 million, we can debate it. But what we do know is that 10% of every American child has anxiety and depression diagnosis and is under treatment right now. So I'm going to do a weird thing right here. I am actually going to show you the app and do a dance as if I'm a child. And so I have it in front of me. And so we have 4 characters. I'll choose this one. I'll do a little dance, and then I'll put it on the chair back here, and you'll watch me do a dance, and you'll hear me talking. And it's going to pick up my body motion movements when I get in trail. And so it captures, the camera captures all my body movements, 72 points, X, Y, Z, and in time. And these movements are therapeutic movements. They're not indiscriminate. Jumping jacks, very complicated movement to do, leaping in the air, both wrists coming together, landing on both feet in time, X, Y, Z. I move out of frame, it'll switch off. And we have some puppy moves. So what does all this mean? It means that all the data went right now to Jerry's inbox and also to Sarah's inbox, because they're the therapists here. So I'm just going to look at some slides now and show you the slides if I can do this. But Jerry, you better help me with this. How do I do this?
Sure, Victor. You can hit the share screen button on the toolbar.
Okay. Hold a second. What share screen button? Oh, here it is here, share screen. Okay, I got it right here. Okay, which one am I going to do here? I'm going to do this one. Okay, can you see this? Can you see my screen?
It's just loading now. Yep.
Okay, great.
You can see your slides.
So this is like a presentation here. So I have a mental health app for kids that's reimbursable by insurance companies, 100 million members, right? It's all pilot, of course. And so this is our company Playing Forward. And so I told you about 10% of every kid's got anxiety and depression in this country. They're all on some sort of drug, probably. And then our therapy treats these kids. They're happy. I won't go into neuroscience. If you're going to be around at 2:45, you'll hear our academic on the HITLAB presentation. There's the app I showed you. We can make this ubiquitous. It's in everyone's iPhone, iPad. We have a deal with Nickelodeon characters. So the characters you saw me dancing with, they've already been skinned with SpongeBob, Dora, and with Leonardo from Ninja Turtles. This is the model, basically, insurance model and a commercial model. So I'm just going to skip ahead here. The entertainment business is huge. The mental health business is becoming worse. Open up any newspaper in this country, look at the first page. This is our competition. Basically, no one does any reimbursement. It's a little bit of everything and all the other. This is our clinical friends. Anxiety. This is our team, about 10 of us so far, from every walk of life. They're all got black hair. They're all in the entertainment and mental health world. Lots of experience. And I want to show you this. So this is the dilemma we're in here. So I've got an app that does all this, but is it approved? So we've contracted with the New England University, the graduate school, and this is our 6 weeks with them, and they're going to create a pathway for our product to the FDA. And they've done all their homework over the last 6 or 8 weeks. And what's happened is that there's no category for a psychiatric mental health app. There is for every other specialty, but there's not for psychiatry. And so there's the dilemma here. So they're going to be presenting it to their professors and also to the FDA with some of the points not being completed because there's no category for mental health. So I'm just going to go back here again, get out of this. So what are we doing here? So somehow we have to change this whole model and create something different. This is what we're doing with our developing group called Daffodil. And so they're going to take the database that we have that now goes through, this is the dark blue, that already gets designed into an email that you saw me create. I can show you that in a second. And this is all entertainment data. And as soon as it's put into the EHR, it becomes HIPAA compliant. So at this point, it's all entertainment data. So what we've contracted them to do is on the next slide, they're going to take the entertainment element of this data and run it through as a reward for the child. So as soon as a child finishes that dance that you saw me do, on the screen, immediately, they get a cents reward, 5 cents or 10 cents, based on the way they've done the efforting on that particular dance. And it's another analog or formula that we've created in the back end, so that the child will immediately get a cents award, CNTS award, on the screen, and it will go into the bank account immediately. So the family will see a deposit immediately into the bank account. This is independent of the electronic, of the EHR money that comes back, depending on the insurance form, or Medicare sends a EHC electronic transfer within 2 or 3 days, or it can come as a check. At this time, what we've been doing is sending all this money back to the kids that create our model here. So we're thinking that this reimbursement here will create a expansive use of the app, which is what we're doing next. So we have this relationship with Nickelodeon. We've already done a study with them that's proved that there's more engagement, there's less attrition, so they stay on it for 2 weeks for sure. There's more time on the app. There's more points earned, so there's more engagement in the app. So we'll be able to, through our next trial, which is underway this week, with 27,000 families that have children in our age bracket, and they're going to be giving a pre and post test that you'll hear about from Darren at 2:45, that there'll be a movement to use the app with financial reward for the family. And we're thinking that once that happens, we'll be able to accumulate a certain number of users that Darren explained that will be able to prove for FDA purposes that the app meets certain guidelines that they require. So I'm just going to go back to one more thing here and show you a complexity. Where is this? You're in the way, Jerry. Here we are. There we are. So this is a formula. Here it is here. So we have a formula called a complexity formula, which is sort of a mental health formula. It's the effort that the child uses to get the reward immediately on their screen. And it's an efforting reward, and it's separate from the biomechanical EHR reward that comes later on, 2 or 3 days later. And this is all based on how much effort they put into a dance. And every dance has a different level of complexity, and every dance has different moves. In the regular app that you saw, the AI and ML assesses what part of the body is not working properly, does an assessment, and then chooses a dance with different movements that can compensate for the movements that are sort of out of whack. And so in the email that they get, or you get, there'll be a prescriptive next dance based on the measurements of the child's movements in the previous dance. So it's sort of a prescriptive model. And we find from clinical studies that if the child's able to interject or incorporate body movements properly, that whole system of being in control of one's body gives you autonomy, agency, sense of self, all those wonderful things that we all know about, and reduces anxiety and depression. It translates into treating anxiety and depression. So why am I presenting here today? I'm presenting here today because this is a mental health app for kids 5 to 12 years old that's already gone through the process. It's reimbursable, that's fun, that does treat anxiety and depression, that has the ability to be ubiquitous, that doesn't use any words at all. It's all movement-based. Any character can be skinned onto our characters, like the Nickelodeon characters I showed you. It could be any culture. It could be any celebrity in any culture. The engagement will always be there with branded characters. There'll be more engagement. There'll be more movements. We know movements ordinarily work for cardiovascular and diabetes and all the other wonderful things, but they also treat anxiety and depression. So I'm standing here in front of you today as sort of a guinea pig, I should say, a dancing cow, to ask you to pay attention to the fact that there is out there an entertainment app that really does work and treat and can bring kids into the mental health environment and engagement with therapists. And I think on that note, I'm going to be quiet and ask any questions that anyone has.
No, that's wonderful, Victor. Thanks so much for coming on and showing us your solution. One very quick question before we go over to Gil and Ritesh. Tom asked back a couple of slides ago, who's paying that 36 cents? That reimbursement.
That's the model that it's coming out of our company. But in terms of who comes on board, it'll depend. It could be a family fund, could be a bank, could be anyone, or pitching the government to take over this and have them responsible for it, and them to come up and support us in that way. And that's our ultimate goal.